But one of the things that I feel like gets missed sometimes is the fact that, like, just because things are the most popular things or it's the most socially acceptable, um, that doesn't necessarily mean that is what that thing is supposed to be. Hey, what's up, guys? This is TJ with the Show Me Better podcast in real life. And the way that I'm starting this off is pretty casual, man. Just be patient with the process. Something I guess I can promise you is that not only are we going to keep it real, but we're also going to make sure that we try to provide some value to your perspective and hopefully at some point your life. So one of the things that I was doing today is every so often, probably one or two times a week, I go to a local coffee shop. And at this coffee shop, I see a wide variety of different people come in and out, um, and they have different perspectives on life. But one of my favorite, I got to admit something, confess. Uh, Times the reason why I go to coffee shops is number one, to be out and about with people, uh, and two, be able to people watch, but three, be able to eavesdrop. And so I hear all kinds of very interesting conversations. I try my best to minimize my eavesdropping, but oftentimes that's what I'm doing. I'm working, but I'm also listening because, like, if you listen to people, it's really interesting conversations that you hear. So anyway, so there's this pastor that I see almost every time that I'm there. And oftentimes he's studying or he's reading the paper, seeming like he's decompressing. So I've seen him going there for probably at least a year at this point. And so finally, started to kind of talk. And this morning, we actually had a pretty extended conversation. And so we were getting to know each other for the first time. He's an older pastor, but man, he had all these cool stories about, like, back in the day whenever he was in ministry and he was coming up, and when he went to seminary and how he went to some of the Middle Eastern countries to minister. And as he's telling me these stories, one of the things that I noticed that kept popping up is that he was in a certain place in his life where he wasn't making the greatest of choices. And then, like, Jesus did some things that changed his life, that he needed to, like, turn his life around, and his buddies ended up doing the same thing. And as he was telling me some of his story, one of the reoccurring things that kept popping up in my head was, who was it that this pastor was watching? Who did he have access to that caused for him to even know what change looked like? Because for a lot of us, if not all of us, we're kind of like, as we grow up, we have the desire to please ourselves. And one of the ways that we're able to, like, kind of see what things are supposed to be like is by watching people, by watching things happen, by seeing how people respond to different things. Um, but one of the things that I feel like gets missed sometimes is the fact that, like, just because things are the most popular things or it's the most socially acceptable, um, that doesn't necessarily mean that is what that thing is supposed to be. And what we know is that, like, there is a purpose in everything that's created. There's not anything that's, like, just made by accident. I've heard it said like that those that invent things, they are answering a question. Even those that are content creators, they're answering questions. And the way that we're able to see what the purpose of those things are, or the question that's being answered, is by finding out through the creator. Whether it's a content creator or it's the creator of the universe, it's the creator that decides what it is the purpose of that thing is. Now, there is definitely things that can come out of that creator, but ultimately they're the ones that define what it was ultimately meant for and what the greatest possibility of that thing could possibly be. And the question that I find myself thinking about pretty often, the same way that I was wondering about that pastor, who was it that originated that kind of fire that was inside of him that has him ministering for over 50 years? That's a long time to be dedicating your life to one thing. And then the next question that pops into my head, and I'm wondering if you can answer this question for me. In your opinion, what does it look like to be a man at any stage of life? Whether it is in your teen years, whether it's as a child, whether it's as a 70-year-old man, what does it look like to be a man? There's plenty of other questions that we can span off from there, and we'll get to those. But if you can, drop in the comments what you feel like a man is and how you define it. Thanks for watching.